it's Taylor Silverduke, registered dietitian specializing in celiac disease with over 10 years lived experience with celiac myself. And this video is for the people with celiac disease who are watching who are especially anxious about dining out. Maybe they feel like, it's just especially scary and they freeze up every time they go to try to do it. Maybe they feel like they have no idea where to start because they're just so nervous, and they are at this kind of like point in their celiac journey where they're not really dining out, but they are wanting to dip their toes in it. They're just not sure where to start or how to kind of ease into it so that it feels like it's more possible and less like absolutely terrifying and freezing up, that kind of thing. So if you feel like you're kind of stuck on trying to figure out how to dine out, maybe you feel like you're only stuck eating at dedicated gluten-free restaurants and you're trying to just work your way up into getting more comfortable being in other kinds of restaurants with celiac and kind of opening up your ability to dine out at other places, I'm going to give you 3 small ways that you can start to work your way up, start building up your capacity, start building up those skills without like having to dive straight head first into the deep end. So if that sounds good to you, keep watching, and let's get into the first tip. So the first thing that you can try if you are a celiac who's feeling extremely nervous around dining out is to start with just screening restaurants for safety. And the first thing you can do, especially if you're trying to get comfortable with asking for precautions or trying to get comfortable with using those skills around making sure you're asking for the right precautions and you're asking the right questions to make sure your food is actually gluten-free. I know that this can be especially difficult in person, and practicing over the phone can also be nerve-wracking, but it can be kind of a step towards getting more comfortable doing it in person. So try calling a restaurant and just asking one question about the menu and then let it go. You can call later if you feel more comfortable, or if you feel like the conversation's going smoothly, you can keep going if that one question gets answered and you want to, but just maybe even once a week or every couple of days, just trying to build that skill of figuring out how to develop those questions, what kind of questions to ask, and how to like guide that conversation to make sure you're getting the information you need, and you're also seeing if that restaurant is an option. And then as you are getting comfortable calling restaurants and asking that question or those questions, you can start to ask more and more questions every time. You can start to really build out that skill of figuring out, okay, so what is the best way to ask this? What should I be asking? What am I looking for? What are the different ways they could respond? And kind of like building up that like experience so you feel more comfortable speaking up. This is also really great if you're kind of especially nervous on how people might react. If you're calling somebody, it still sucks when someone's rude on the phone, but you can just hang up and then not touch your phone, not call a restaurant for a week, 2 weeks, however long you need to like kind of recover from that. So it's an option, and it is something that you might want to consider, especially if you're feeling nervous or you're feeling like you are trying to really just feel more secure in your ability to ask these questions. It's a really great place to start. The second thing that you can try is to just go to a restaurant and order a drink. Ordering drinks at restaurants often requires the least amount of questions, the least amount of cross-contact requests, and they are fairly easy to check for gluten. And when I say drinks, I'm not talking about adult drinks. I'm mainly talking about like soda, smoothies, milkshakes, that kind of thing. Adult drinks like alcohol, that's a separate topic. It can be a little bit complicated in the United States. And if you sign up for the gluten-free dining course, I do teach you how to order safe gluten-free adult drinks in the United States, but it's just like a separate topic. But I'm talking about like a coffee drink, a tea drink, a smoothie, a milkshake, that kind of thing. Just going to a restaurant and ordering that, and kind of going about it from there. So this will allow you to practice asking questions. This will allow you to practice asking for cross-contact precautions if they need it. And then also it will also allow you to practice kind of just getting comfortable with being in a restaurant, talking to restaurant staff, and experiencing that kind of environment without like, again, being thrown into the deep end and having to order like a whole meal. So like sometimes like if I do this, sometimes I do this not just because like I don't need to practice anymore, but I don't need to practice, but like I'm always practicing, if that makes sense. But I do this a lot if I'm meeting with someone that I don't feel like I want to have them see me go through a whole spiel with restaurant staff, or if I don't have the capacity to go through a whole spiel with a restaurant staff to order food, or like, there's a lot of reasons why I might just go and order a drink. It is something that I use for a lot of different scenarios, not just trying to build up skills. So like I would definitely make sure whatever drink it is that you are ordering is something that is satisfying, something that you enjoy, something that is going to help you enjoy the situation. So it could be like a mocktail. It could be just like a soda if that's something that you want. Maybe you could order a float or that kind of thing, and then just kind of go from there and build up your skills from there. After ordering a drink, if you're looking for something else small that you can try, you can also try ordering very plain foods to go, like a plain chicken breast with simple cross-contact precautions. This way you can practice ordering with cross-contact precautions, practice ordering food with those cross-contact precautions. You can also get more comfortable talking to restaurant staff and practicing saying those things and evaluating how it's being received and that kind of thing. And you're not kind of stuck eating that food in the restaurant when you've already gone through that kind of nervous part. You can take your food home, you can eat it in the safe space of your home, or not. You can just practice asking for the precautions. And kind of like build up from there. So you could say like, hey, can I please order a plain chicken breast with no seasoning, nothing, and can you please make sure you are changing your gloves before you cook it, and you're cooking it in a freshly washed pan and using clean, freshly washed utensils when you're cooking it, so that it's free from gluten, because I have a gluten allergy, and ideally you would say gluten allergy first. We can't always be perfect, but that way like you're just kind of practicing and getting used to asking for those precautions, getting used to having those conversations with the restaurant staff without, again, that pressure of it being in person, that pressure of it being in front of a bunch of people at a table, and also like that pressure of like now you got to eat it when you're already kind of nervous about it. You're kind of like easing yourself into it. And then you can start to practice again and build this up by ordering maybe more complex dishes or different dishes, or add other things onto it, like, can I get a plain chicken breast with a baked potato, that kind of thing, and kind of work yourself up to being able to maybe order more complicated dishes, or just even being able to order in the restaurant. So those are the 3 simple tips that I have for you to practice dining out with celiac disease if you're someone who's feeling especially nervous, or you're feeling like you want to ease your way into it without having to like dive deep into the deep end. So the first way was to the first way was to just call restaurants and ask one question and then end it there, and then start building up that experience and that skill and that comfort level with asking questions. I'm asking more questions every time you call, just to kind of get that experience on how it goes when you're talking with restaurant staff, how to evaluate how they're receiving things, that kind of thing. Second thing you can do is to go to a restaurant and just order drinks, and you can kind of like build up that skill from like ordering a simple soda to ordering maybe a float, which is like soda with ice cream in it, to maybe ordering something that's blended, and kind of like working yourself up that way. And in that way, you're not having to ask a ton of questions, you're not having to ask for a ton of cross-contact precautions, but you are still having to have those conversations, so it's an easier way to practice. And then the third last small step that you can take, or thing that you can practice, is to just order plain, simple food with those cross-contact precautions, and then and order it to go, eat it at home, don't eat it, wherever you are in your stage of getting comfortable. And start building yourself up that way, and then potentially adding things to your order, or starting to practice ordering more complicated dishes until you feel comfortable enough to start practicing in the restaurant. So those are those 3 little steps that you can take. And I do want to invite you to consider, if you are looking to expand your ability to dine out, you want to be able to dine out at restaurants beyond just dedicated gluten-free places. You want to have a 4-step process to evaluate the safety of a restaurant and manage those risks. Those 4 steps also give you 4 places in the dining out process that you can just bail if something is going wrong, or you're uncomfortable, or you're just not getting the right information, or just something's off. I know we've all been there. I want to invite you to consider my gluten-free dining course. In this course, I teach you how to dine out in 4 simple steps, giving you baby steps similar to what I've shared with you in this video every step of the way for you to practice so that you don't have to dive straight into the deep end if you are someone who's feeling especially nervous. And so I help you do this from finding restaurants to contacting them to ordering from them and beyond. There's no, again, jumping into the deep end here, only ramps that kind of guide you safely in to dining out with celiac disease at your own pace. This gluten-free dining course is 4 modules long. There are 4 stages to dining out that kind of help walk you through. I give you simulations, practice examples, scripts that you can actually use or print off and use verbatim. I give you restaurant cheat sheets to common restaurant chains in the USA that you can follow. I give you cross-contact precautions to ask for. I give you pretty much almost everything you need to really reduce the risks of dining out and feel as prepared as possible. If this is something you're interested in, I'll leave more information down below for you to check out in the description box, but absolutely no pressure. I understand and I believe that you are going to make the right choice for you. It's totally fine if you want to just start with taking these smaller steps to dining out. And if you are someone with celiac who has been in that kind of like anxious phase and you found like a step that was particularly helpful for you, please let me know in the comments. It's always great to share kind of those little things that kind of help you along the way with dining out. I know this is one of those harder things and scarier things to manage with celiac disease, and any kind of support you can give other celiacs is always welcomed. And if you have any questions, let me know down below. And all of that said, I hope that this was helpful in kind of helping you open your mind at least to the different ways that you can ease into going to restaurants with celiac disease. My name is Taylor, fellow celiac of 10 plus years and celiac specialized registered dietitian. Again, I hope this was helpful. If you did find it helpful, hit the subscribe button and I will see you when I see you.